Captain Paul for the Locker Room here. If you haven't already, please make sure to subscribe, and let's get right into it. The Seattle Kraken are currently on a 7-game winning streak, and they have been on an absolute tear, recently just beating the Boston Bruins 3-0 at TD Garden. Seattle's one of those teams that kind of, in my opinion, came out of nowhere. Now, I don't think they were going to be as terrible as they were last season, but I didn't expect them to be top 3 in the Pacific, and only 4 points behind the Vegas Golden Knights to challenge for that number 1 spot. There has been a lot of reasons why the Seattle Kraken have been a very good team. They are just well formed up front and on the back end. But let's talk about the forwards first. The standout line to me would be Burakovsky, Beniers, and Eberle. They have all played fantastic, with Burakovsky with 41 games played, 11 goals, 24 assists for 35 points. Beniers with 41 games played, 16 goals, 18 assists for 34 points. And Eberle with 41 games played, 10 goals, 24 assists for 34 points as well. Beniers is the one that has really kind of rocketed up in his development, being only 20 years old and producing at a 0.83 point per game clip. That is really impressive, and he has a potential to be a star at the NHL level. Another productive line you have here is Schwartz, Wenberg, and McCann. Schwartz in 40 games played, 10 goals, 13 assists, 23 points. Wenberg, 19 points in 41 games played with 8 goals, 11 assists. And McCann with 38 games played, 19 goals, 8 assists for 27 points, and he is leading the team with goals. So you're getting some nice depth scoring. And then on your third line, which has been kind of mixed around a bit, with Tullivan with 20 games played, 6 goals, 4 assists for 10 points. Yanni Gourde with 40 games played, 6 goals, 21 assists for 27 points. And Bjorkstrand with 41 games played, 6 goals, 14 assists for 20 points. This is the good thing about the Seattle team, is their depth. Because let's go into their fourth line with Tanev, 41 games played, 8 goals, 13 assists for 21 points. Morgan Geekie, 31 games played, 4 goals, 10 assists for 14 points. And Daniel Sprong with 34 games played, 13 goals, 13 assists for 26 points. Throughout this lineup, you have a plethora of depth scoring. You have 9 forwards with over 20 points on the season. That is just fantastic scoring up front. Let's talk about the great back end. You got Vince Dunn, 41 games played, 7 goals, 23 assists for 30 points, with a plus 22 on the season. With Adam Larson, 41 games played, 4 goals, 14 assists, 18 points with a plus 23. You have Jamie Olsak in 34 games played, 5 goals, 5 assists for 10 points with a plus 7. Justin Schultz, 39 games played, 5 goals, 18 assists for 23 points for a plus 11 on the season. And then to round out the bottom pairing, Carson Sosi, 41 games played, 2 goals, 6 assists for 8 points. And William Borgen with 41 games played, 2 goals, 9 assists, and 11 points for a plus 7. The defense is good. I mean, you even have 2 guys in the back end with plus 20 points, with Vince Dunn leading the point with 30 and Schultz respectively with 23 points. I mean, you're just getting offensive production all around, and they're a very difficult team to play against. What is the Achilles heel when it comes to the Seattle Kraken? Well, to me, it's still goaltending. This is something I've referenced in a previous video. Martin Jones has definitely improved in his last 5 games. His last 2 games have been shutouts against Boston and Montreal. Ottawa, he had an .826 save percentage, so again, slipped back, but against Toronto, a .963, and Edmonton, a .938. There's flashes of Martin Jones being a very good goaltender. Now, Grubauer, I'm not as optimistic. He's kind of played 1 game on the 10th in a .914 save percentage, which is pretty good, but then on the 30th of December, a .400 save percentage where he got yanked. And it just seems like he's up and down. He'll have a very good game and then a very horrific game. So I'm not looking for Grubauer to kind of turn back time and become what he was in Colorado. So on the season with Martin Jones, you have 30 games played, a 2.69 goals against, an .898 save percentage, and a 20-5 record. Grubauer in 14 games played, a 3.49 goals against, and an .885 save percentage, and a 4-7 record. That needs to improve. If the Seattle Kraken want to be a dangerous team in the playoffs, they need their goaltenders to kind of come into form and at least be adequate and give you above average goaltending. That's the only way you're going to win a cup. It is very rare. The only team I could say that did it was the Chicago Blackhawks with Yami, but it's very rare to win a Stanley Cup or go on a deep playoff run with below average goaltender. And Martin Jones has impressed in his last couple, but he'll have those stretches of really great play, and then he'll go right back to being completely awful. So Jones needs to make sure he's consistent from this point going forward. They're on a 7-game winning streak. They have scoring, they have defense, they have a lot of things that can mask poor goaltending. So where do I think that they can finish? Well, looking at the Pacific Division, I mean, I feel like Vegas has better goaltending, but I think Seattle has a little bit better depth scoring overall. The Los Angeles Kings, I feel like it's the same issue. Not great goaltending. I don't think anyone's come in there and done excellent. Now, Copley has done well thus far, but how much can you rely on a guy like that to be a consistent guy? But who knows? Right now, he's doing okay. For these top three, I do think Seattle could stay in the top three because Calgary, Edmonton, and Vancouver can be all over the place. I actually could envision the Seattle Kraken finishing second in the Pacific, and at the very worst, finishing in a wild card spot. I feel like there's just too much scoring depth for them to completely go out of the playoff picture, but their goaltending is a worrying aspect for me. I need to see if Martin Jones can kind of be a steadying force, because if not, you're in for a very rough season. I'd be interested to know what your thoughts are down below. Do you think the Kraken can go on a deep playoff run? And if so, why? And if not, give me your explanations as well. I'm Captain Paul for the Locker Room. We're trying to reach 1,500 subscribers for the end of the month, and I'll see you in the next video.
But you got to be impressed with Seattle with their pace of play, their speed, particularly when they don't have the puck.